think I'm recording here. Hey, so I just got back from ATM making sure I have enough money. There's no ATM where I'm going, so everything is cash. So this is the view from my room. If I was standing up, you'd see that river behind me, the Walaga River. So it's been a really great trip. I feel like I've been gone for weeks instead of like 6 days. So I thought I would share a couple things that I take for granted that maybe people don't. I've often talked about travel with feeling more than thinking. Recently I was listening to a video and the woman giving the presentation talked about simply dropping into your heart center. And when I heard that, something shifted in me and I felt myself just instantly dropping out of the mind and into there. And I've known for a while, because I'm doing the creativity training, like the brain has two different operating systems. They call it the brain, but it really isn't. The left hemisphere likes to control, manage, micromanage, analyze, plan, control, be in charge of everything. But then there's this other, we call it the right hemisphere, but it's more the intuitive part. The left hemisphere can focus on one thing at a time. The right hemisphere can focus on 20 or 30,000 things at a time because it's more systemic. It's looking at the patterns and the connections and the relationships and so forth. My personal view is that that's the part that connects me more closely to the soul. And so that's what happens when I drop into the heart center. And so I'll explain to you when I'm traveling and there's uncertainty and there's announcements and there's worry and concern and the passengers in the airport are like, oh my God, it's blah, blah, blah. And if I hear that, that's the left hemisphere. And if I do that, I start feeling tension and what do I do? How do I figure this out? And you can't figure it out. So my practice is I go to a place that I choose, which is different from where everybody else is. And I just go into what I feel like, for me, I call it the heart center. And just going into a place where I just all of a sudden feel a calmness come in. And in that place, I know everything's gonna be okay. I know it's all gonna work out. And so, the flight from Denver to Houston was good. The flight from Houston to Lima was historically unreliable. 30 minutes to 6 hours, 7 hours late. A couple nights it was canceled. So I don't let my mind wonder about that. My mind goes to, okay, heart center, everything's gonna be all right. Things are gonna work out. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be where I need to be. And eventually I'm gonna wind up where I want to be. So the same thing happened in where I was in Tarapoto. Because when the road got covered, word spreads by rumor. And so it's like, oh my God, the whole mountainside came down. It's not going to open for days. And oh no, you're not going to be able to get through. And no cars and so forth. And so in the midst of hearing that, I'm like, you know what? Just listen, be calm, feel. So when I got finished with dinner, I went back and met the people from South Africa who were coming to the same place that I am. And then had that lovely interaction with the young lady at the shop with the fresh local cacao and that beautiful mural on the wall. I finished packing my pack and organizing things, thinking, I'll get ready and get up and be patient. And so the next morning I woke up early and showered and I went down right before 7 o'clock and there was a different man working. And I told him in Spanish that I wanted to go. I didn't know if they had word on the Carretera, the highway. And so he immediately started asking questions. And I said, yes, today way, por Yuri Maguas. Picked up the phone and called and he asked a few questions. Then he looked at me and he's like, sí, es abierto, it's open. And so instead of struggling and getting a taxi and going to the corner of town and finding the shuttles and hoping they fill up, and instead of all that, he called and made a request for 3 people, for the 2 people from South Africa, from Ruan and his wife. And 10 minutes later, a car showed up and we put our packs in the car. We're in a comfortable car heading where we want to go. And so I wanted to throw that out there. That's essential part of my travel experience. And people ask me that about just the mindset, and I often get questioned why I look so young being so old, or why I'm so healthy being so old. And I'm like, I practice paying attention to what I want to pay attention to. And what I love about traveling is I have more conversations about life and meaning and purpose and dreams, and just sharing kind of at a heart-to-heart level of things that matter in life, and that's first-person conversation. And the typical conversation in the States is, sickness, aches and pains, politics, government, and corruption, and what are they thinking? And all of that is external. It's completely out of my world. But the more I take my energy away from my world and put it into those things, the less well my world works for me. So I'm sharing that not only from a travel standpoint, but on a day-to-day basis at home. It's like, okay, out of all this noise and chaos and confusion, what part do I choose to focus on that brings the greatest sense of calmness and clarity for me, and which part can I have an impact on and do something about? So that happened again. I got here, there was a lady selling tickets when the car arrived. Yes, it's a Rapido. And the two people with me were ready to buy a ticket, and I asked some more questions. Well, it's Rapido, but it's not to where we're going. It's all the way to Iquitos. It leaves at 4 p.m. and it's not what they wanted to take. And so I turn around, and there's a really friendly driver, and told him where I wanted to go. This is my birthday hotel tree that's actually got hot water and aircon. Now, I don't like a lot of aircon. I run it about 25, 26 degrees at night, which is pretty warm, but it's cool enough that I sleep better. And so he got excited, grabbed my backpack, wouldn't let me carry it, put it in the back of his car, started explaining things along the way. When we got to the hotel, he got out, grabbed the backpack, carried it into the front desk for me. I paid him, he gave me a hug. And then I saw him waiting out front in case I needed anything else. And then not knowing exactly, there's like confusion. The morning boat, it doesn't run anymore. There's a 4 o'clock boat, but maybe not, maybe only some days. And so I got a message about a 1 o'clock boat on a company called JL Express. And people said, oh yeah, it's on the port, like it's a long ways away. So I asked at the front desk, and I told them the name, and the two ladies got together. It's like, see? So I go half a block, un medio cuadra, derecho, 3 cuadras. Take a right. I'm like, so, ¿cuánto? It's like, oh, you'll see it. So I left and walked down, and there's booths, people selling tickets for boats I don't want. And then it comes sloping down the hill, and there's just a tiny little sign outside for JL Express, 1 p.m. I said hello, and the woman came out, and I just asked her, it's like, is it necessary to buy my ticket today, or should I buy it tomorrow? She goes, ahorita, now. So I sat down and paid my 60 soles and got my ticket, and that was it. That was my priority to accomplish before I left here. So in about 3 hours, I'll head over there and be ready to go on the 1 o'clock boat. And so part of that process for me is I practice listening for where the sense of ease and flow is. Where is the lightness here? And so, I just felt inspired to kind of share these ideas, because that's how I travel. I don't work a lot at forcing things. I joke with the lady at the hotel in Tarapoto about, can you hire a helicopter? Do you have any horses? And instead of being stressed about this thing, we just had a great laugh together. So that's it. This is my background. When I leave here, I'm going into even much smaller place, and I'll be staying in the house. The people who run the tour company, I couldn't book a room in the city online, wouldn't let me book in Lagunas. It's got 2 hostels that I know of. So I wrote to her and asked her how I would book them, and she wrote back to me, and she said, you're welcome to be our guest in our home the night before your tour at no charge. So I sent her the note yesterday with a photograph of my ticket. She's going to meet me at the dock, and then I'm going into nature. So when I get out, I'll do something like this. I am trying to write with a wireless keyboard on my travel blog through my iPad, and it's been really convoluted, so I'm not going to do a lot of that because it's a pain in the butt, and I don't want to do pain in the butt stuff when I'm traveling and relaxing. So here you go. Ciao, hope everybody's doing awesome. So here we go. I'm launching in a couple hours, going out into the forest. Yay! Ciao.